I was muted. You didn't hear any of that. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to After the Credits, episode 71, our 70th one? That's not how you say that whatsoever. 71st episode of After the Credits. And just like the title says, it's Darren's After the Credits, I suppose. We're down a couple members for now. Taz should be on the way. We'll see about anyone else later on in today's episode. This has been a very wonky, a very wonky week, a very wonky episode. I worked night shift on Monday this week, so it was a lot of like, well, I can't do it. And then Tuesday, people were busy. And then, it was like, well, I got Pipeline Thursday. And it's like, well, we'll try and do it today. We'll try and do today's episode. See who can do it. Do a quicker episode because we're going to try and be out of here by 9:30 because of my... oh, looky who we have here. Hello, Darth. How's it going, my friend? How's it going?
Hello. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
That is okay. We were just getting started. How are you?
I'm good. I've had a very, very long week, but it's been okay. It's ended positively. How are you doing?
I am good. I was just telling them like the weirdness of this week of like I worked night shift on Monday, so like, and we're in separate group chats now, right? So it's like I was like, me and Taz were like, okay, so can't do it Monday. He's like, well, I can't do it Tuesday. We're like, okay, maybe we can try and do it Wednesday. Maybe we can try and squeak it in. But then Taz has to be out of here by 9:30. So it's like, okay, very concise, very short episode this week, which he should be jumping in here shortly. But yeah, I mean, how have you been, my friend? How's it been going? I just asked you that, huh? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, my mum had surgery on last Thursday. Yeah, she had her gallbladder removed, so she's doing very, very well. We're very proud.
Amazing.
So I have done less watching this week, but
sure.
I've watched Doctor Who, which is the important one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, just like this week's rundown, like, yeah, we have a Doctor Who episode to watch or talk about. Did you watch any of The Last of Us? Did you end up getting started on that or no?
I haven't yet. Okay. I still haven't finished Severance either, which is crazy.
That's totally valid. So yeah, we can talk about we can just talk about Doctor Who. I also wanted to talk to you. Did you see the Hell of a Boss, the Has-Been Hotel announcement?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I am crazy excited about that. That is outstanding news. And it just goes to show that I feel validated because every time that I'm like talking to somebody about talking to somebody about TV and stuff, like at the moment, the first thing I'm recommending is Severance, but then after that, it's always Has-Been Hotel. It's always Hell of a Boss. Those two are like the consistents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that they're the Amazon are like, we want it. We want it. It's as good as the other one. We want it. The interesting thing for me is did the leak, like I say leak, did the hack have anything to do with this, right? And
I didn't know about a hack. What happened there?
Oh yeah, right. So Has-Been Hotel season 2 got hacked and leaked.
Oh wow.
Right? Yeah. So then I've not read any of it because I feel that would be incredibly unfair and a massive disservice to the creator, right? Especially as a big FU. They basically changed like a whole bunch. So we're going in like a whole different direction to where they were originally going. I think because again, I don't know anything about what was released because you know what I mean? Like why are you ruining it for the rest of us?
Yeah. I always try and say as far as leaks as possible. And that really sucks that they have to change their entire like game plan, because then maybe it's better, but like it's not what they originally wanted to tell. That's not what they originally wanted to do. So would have been cool to see what that original journey was. But it's going to be cool having.
They get to go bigger and better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm.
Right, I cut you off, but you were saying it was good. It's going to be good to have the Hell of a Boss team meeting up with them.
Yeah, no, like I mean, just like a basis, like it's really cool that everyone's going to be under the same roof. Everything's going to be under the same home. It's I love that there was a focus on like she gets to keep creative control. Like she gets to tell the exact same thing she would have on YouTube, just with a bigger budget, and it still will go to YouTube eventually. So that community isn't going to be like out of a show, because just in case they don't want to pay for streaming. So that's also really, really cool. And then the crossover stuff is going to be really fun too. I'm excited to see what that means, and like is it going to be just like little cameo stuff, or is there eventually going to be like a whole like maybe a little mini event or something?
This is the thing, right? Because this is turning into a Hell of a Boss thing now, right? But we don't know, as we discussed when we were reviewing it, how many rings are affected by Adam's extermination.
Sure.
Right? And then, because of what Charlie's trying to do and has done through Serpentius, that has to be like reaching all of hell. Do you know what I mean? That can't be like Pride Ring specific. That has to be a through line, because like what does that mean for the natural born denizens of hell? Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like for your imps, like I mean, because imps are only just coming out of like being second class citizens, really, and that's only because of Blitz and Fizzy.
Yeah.
Do you mean? So I don't know, like the idea, and then just the idea of hell in general, being a potential pit stop. But then, like, there are some people that would be so self-destructive as to, which is why they're there, that even with that possibility, that's just never going to happen. You know what I mean? But then you also have you know what I mean, like the devils of each ring. You have like all of the vices that you would naturally have to contend with. But I think, I don't know, you have some people that are going to believe in the purity of hell, and that's what it is there for. But then other people that are going to be like, oh, okay, well, this is the new status quo, this makes sense, and try and facilitate that. But then other people will be like, well, I feel like that's trying to get me out of a job. You know, it's crazy good. There's so much to it. It's crazy. And we're talking about like an animation from a like just a 27-year-old.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, she's created an entire universe. Like, she has, this is now a 2-universe, like, little universe. I know there's been talks for, like, well, maybe they'll do a third someday and blah, blah, blah. And now that it is under Amazon, like, completely, I could be like, okay, yeah, I could definitely see them expanding further. But we're a little shorter on time today, so I do want to jump into our first show, just so we have enough time to get through everything. And we will be starting with Doctor Who. This would have been episode 3 of the season, titled, I don't remember the title, actually. I should have wrote it down.
The Well.
But what is it?
The Well.
The Well. It was called The Well. Now, going into this episode, and you know, this is the problem with them. Over here, they air them in the morning, and so we got spoilers all day while I'm at work and stuff like that. But I had heard it was a very special episode, just from people online freaking out that it was a sequel to a very, very famous Doctor Who episode. What I will say is, you know, we talked about our favorite episodes last week. I forgot the one that this is based on, which is probably one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I adore Midnight. I think Midnight is like, I might argue Midnight's one of my favorite episodes of TV. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But what was your thoughts on this episode of Doctor Who?
I loved it. I was I kind of felt like as we were going through it, like I was calling some of it like before, like I was like, oh my god, this is do you mean the thing? But then like
Midnight.
they gave it a shape, which is crazy to me. Do you mean? Which was fascinating. But I love the episode as a whole. It felt very, 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 very Doctor Who. It felt very classic. It had the element of spookiness that the other one that Midnight had. Less some.
Yeah.
Right, because I think that the thing that made Midnight so scary was how much it was learning, and how it was learning and copying speech and stuff like that. And then this week, I don't know, there was one bit where somebody was behind Alyssa and they didn't die. Like, that was crazy. Other than that, pure episode.
Yeah.
And same Naruto, same. Because I was interested that how does this thing survive for so long? I mean, like 400,000 years on a planet of diamonds. What are you eating? And why are you so scared of sunlight when you were literally living on a planet that would gleam for so long? Crazy. But then when they just showed like you just cannot get rid of this one, there is just something about this one that is just going to keep eating at you.
Yeah.
And I love that when that happens, because like Doctor Who, the Doctor is like the end for like so many things. I mean, he's always there to help, but like if you're a villain, you're shit out of luck, because this guy is your demise. And then there's just some things that just keep coming back. They just keep like
Yeah, I loved it, because like when the episode was going on, I was like, okay, I know what it's going to end up being. I had heard what it was, and I was like, how are we getting there? Like, how are we making that way? Because it is so different than the last time we saw this thing. And the thing about Midnight in that episode, and how good as it is, you don't really know much about this thing. And I think that's what made it so scary, is that it was this mystery entity that was just doing this thing. He doesn't learn why or how or what it looked like or why it was doing these things, but it was doing these things. It was learning. It was evolving. It was this parasite that was draining life. And it does that this week, but in a different way, to the point where my mom was like, are we sure this is the same thing? Are we sure this is the same entity? And if they didn't break it down and tell us it was, I don't know if I would have pieced those pieces together either, because it is so separate. But I think that's why this thing is so scary, is because even now we've had our second episode with this thing. I don't really know quite what it is. Like, we don't exactly know what this thing is, what it wants, we can theorize about it, we can talk about it, but we don't really know. And I like that they're kind of keeping that mystery together, even to a point where it seems like this is going to be a character or a creature that we will continually. I don't know if we'll wait another 16 years to do it again. I would hope we'll do it a little bit faster next time.
It's been that long.
It's been that long. It was season 4 of the 2005 and the 2008 run. I mean 2005 run, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts. The idea of what does it want when it's waited like 400 years for that for the reuniting and the confrontation between them two. I don't know, because like the idea of something with that level of patience, let alone lifespan, is nuts.
This is a good point. We have no idea how many of it there are. Is there only one, or is there an entire civilization? That's a good point. Like, who is even to say it's the exact same one, right? It could technically, but I guess it knew the Doctor, right? But like maybe it's a
Right. See, my thing about him
maybe it's a
knowing the
hive mind
Doctor
or something. I don't know.
is how did it know his Gallifreyan name? Because that
Yeah.
was the implication I got when he
Well,
started
because
crying.
it was in his head, right? That was the whole thing in the first one, where it was like inside of his brain. It was copying his thoughts, his feelings, right? So maybe it knows things about him that others
Yeah,
wouldn't
you can go with
inherently
that
know.
assumption. To be fair, I went with the assumption that it was always like surface level thoughts of like things that you were talking about.
Fair enough.
Because
yeah.
as well, like the Doctor's kind of like Batman in that, like with how big and like he would have like psychic preparedness. One would assume.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, but
Sure.
like again, like I was loving the things they were doing this week. Like I think it's the creepiest shooty episode we've had so far. Like we've had a couple of like freaky ones, but this had a lot of those like horror movie vibes that I feel like I'm not gonna say I've never seen from Doctor Who, because I think some of those early episodes I watched had some scary elements within them, but I liked how they were using this entity and like its whole motif about like you can only, like it's always behind you and every time you move it's going to just be behind you the whole time and stuff like that. Like I thought that stuff was really, really cool, and it's very like Alien. It gave me like Alien movie vibes, and just
it's funny you say that, because I was thinking that like even with the like when you see the intro, right, you can see how far Doctor Who has come. You can see how far the graphics have come, but they are still core to the show and its legacy in that like all the monsters are still pretty much just made. Like you will be hard pressed to like find like it's 2 or 3 times out of 10 that you're going to find a CGI monster in Doctor Who. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Like, you know what I mean? It's literally just like styrofoam and toilet roll tubes and coat wire hangers and shit, and you get a Doctor Who monster, and they make it work every time.
Yeah. And like it's very funny to think of the production for an episode like this, because this episode looked incredible. Like you could see the production in this episode. Like this looked like a movie in some spots, but there also just wasn't a monster this week. So like they were able to save money with there not being much of a monster outside of those glimpses that we saw. I recently did the Matt Smith episode where we had this like invisible monster thing that they were fighting, and it's just the actors like with stuff being like, huh! When there's nothing there, and it's like, oh, they clearly ran out of budget that week and they needed a cheap monster, so they made it invisible. Whatever, that's fine. That's funny.
I can't wait to get to that Matt Smith God episode. So you've been past the David Tennant.
I've seen David Tennant stuff. Yeah.
The Davros episode. You know, like the episode where they're talking about like not the 2 herbs, like the time that time the Earth teleports, and they were trying to use that beam. Do you know what I mean? With Davros when they made the Dr. Donna.
Yes.
Right, like Davros is calling him out, saying that his whole legacy is death. That he is, like his greatest power is his ability to lose companions and to basically have companions stand up and die for him. And this episode really made me like think of that and have that vibe again, because there was also another, so one of David Tennant's last 4, the Christmas special, where it was like the water on Mars or something, had a very similar kind of military person, you know what I mean, that stepped up and was willing to make sacrifices or choices that shouldn't have happened and things like that. And they always tell such a really intense story, and most of the time leave you quite high with emotion, and they build everybody up very well, which is always another nice thing about Doctor Who.
Agreed. Yeah, no, like I l- I think this episode actually did a really good job of making me care about these characters really, really quickly. Like, I think sometimes, at least with like a lot of like the current stuff I've seen, like they're really good plots, but some of these characters that we introduce aren't always the strongest. Like they're okay, but like if they die or we kind of something happens to them, I'm like, all right, it's okay. But like very quickly, like I really care about was it Allison or like our
Mhm.
Ground Zero character? She was incredible. I loved how they used the like sign language element of the story. I like that in this future, on this planet, that like everyone just automatically knows that, like they are taught that you can't become a nurse unless you know the languages and stuff like that. I was like, that's really, really sick. And I think showing the differences, like I really like Belinda being a nurse. Like I think that's a really fun aspect of it. Like, Martha was a doctor. Rory was also a nurse, but at least in what I've seen, I feel like they don't really implement those ideas with their characters as much, right? Like they're just on the adventure. They don't really play into that. I feel like they've really played into the fact that she is a nurse. That is
Yeah.
part of who she is, and she really, really cares about people. And even if she doesn't want to be there, she's like, yeah, but I'm going to help this person. They're hurting. I need to help them, right? So I think that was really, really cool. What is this? The actress of Alice is one of my new favorite guest stars. She was really good. I thought they did a fantastic job at her and showing the tragedy of a character like that. For sure.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was just
You're fine.
quickly checking what Doctor Who episode it is that I'm dying for you to watch. And you said you are on.
I finished all of season 5, so my next episode would be the start of season 6. Or series 6, I'm sorry.
It is 6:12.
Okay, so soon.
Is it?
I hear 6 is incredible. I'm just like skim through the like thumbnails. I'm like, oh, some of these feel very iconic. Some of these feel very fun.
Yeah, it's 6:12. It's called the God Complex.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite Matt Smith speeches that always like sticks around in my head. I can't wait for you to get to that.
I want to bring something up, and we'll kind of go until Taz shows up, in terms of like our Doctor Who discussion. But
Okay.
I wanted.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask before we do, like, who the hell do you think that woman is? Like, are you any closer in your head?
No. I'm so curious.
I'm really excited about the Vindicator because, from what the Doctor said, that's going to be bringing him close to home, and he always fixes the situation. So why would you want that? Do you mean like whose side are you on?
I'm so curious. Like, I feel like it might be a misdirect, right? Because I think they want us to think she's evil. I think they want us to think she's a bad guy. I'm wondering if she's not, right? Like, I'm wondering if, like, maybe she's not good, but maybe she's not bad either. Like, maybe she's just, like, this, like, cosmic jinx that's just, I don't know, popping up throughout time and space and whatever. Like, this is 2 seasons now. Like, we've been doing this for, like, 13 or odd episodes, where she just pops up in every episode.
Because we're dealing with, like, negative forces, right? But then, as it is with like the deadly sins, there are the 7 virtues. So, if you're right, they could be implying that she could be the counterpart to something that we've seen before.
Sure. I would not be shocked if she's connected to those like harbingers and those godlike beings. Like, that would make sense to me if that is the case.
Like, what if they try and make like rank up the Doctor and level him up again, and instead of making him like the cursed child or whatever it is, that he's also like a harbinger, but like a positive one. I mean, because he saves so many lives. I mean, he costs a few, but I think he's like a net positive.
Agreed. And I'll say, like, I do really hope that mystery is satisfying enough, right? Because like I feel like if they don't land that mystery, or they don't land that character right, I think it might ultimately make this run of episodes feel very lackluster in comparison, because it's been building up for so long now. It's not just a season mystery, it's now 2 seasons mystery. We don't even know if it's happening this season. Maybe it continues the next season. We don't know, right? So it's like, I think they need to nail that to really make it work. But I'm curious to see what it is. Naruto says, I'm loving the mystery of the season. I'm curious about why they can't get to that Pacific Day in May 2025, which is the finale. We know that's that's the airing finale date, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And like they further that mystery this week as well, where it's like no one even knows what Earth is. Like they're like Earth, I don't know, like which you know, like we heard from the like in past seasons, where it's like even after Earth was gone, people knew about it. It's still like this it's this like legendary place that like everyone came from Earth. Like you know we know what that is. You know, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, because even if, for example, like somebody just sent like the wrong call to one of the world leaders, right, and everybody just started pressing their buttons, you know what I mean, putting in their floppy disks,
Sure.
Even then, say for example that happened at 7:05 p.m., you could still land in the TARDIS at 5 p.m., right? So what kind of bamboozling has been happening that even the TARDIS can't anchor itself?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Like that's been my mom's complaint, is like, why can't the TARDIS get there? Why is that like the reason? And you know, I've been like, I'm with you, but I'm okay if they explain why. Like we don't exactly know what this is yet. Like we don't know if is it a cosmic thing? Is it that Earth never existed? That wouldn't make much sense to me either. Like I don't know what it could be. I have no idea.
I also need this Doctor to stay on for a little while longer. Like I need him more.
Okay. I have something I want to bring up. I don't know if you had seen this, but I do want to bring it up because I do think it's an interesting discussion. Let me read these comments here really quickly. I think Mrs. Flood's being a natural force would be fun. I agree. I think that makes sense.
That would be interesting. Like a neutral, chaotic force, yeah.
I can't wait to see the finale in cinemas. Had fun with that last year. Yeah, that's a thing over there, right? Like they show it in cinemas and stuff like that.
I didn't know they showed the finale in the cinema, because that's awesome, because they showed the Day of the Doctor. Oh, what an episode. Special, what you want to call it. They showed that in the cinema as well. God damn, they know how to do Doctor Who.
So I want to bring up this article that came up today, or these various sources that were saying this. Pull up my screen here. So the Doctor Who Season 2 finale is scheduled to release on Disney Plus at 11 a.m. PT / 7 p.m. BST, which is different than what it normally is. And I think it's to align with the cinema releases. And I've heard a lot of people talk about, they think they're doing this to avoid spoilers for people over there. Because I think it typically airs earlier over here than it does over there for the people watching on the BBC or watching it inside the cinemas. And they want to avoid spoilers for people, is what I've been kind of hearing. You guys can correct me down in the comments if I said anything incorrect there. But it seems like maybe they're trying to avoid as much spoilers as they can for the time-lapse people watching from various places. Why do we think that is? What do we think is happening in that final episode that they're really cautious about spoilers this time around?
I'm not sure. I'm having...
Oh. We lost him. Or did you guys lose me? I can't tell. While we're loading, and I hope I'm not talking to myself. Oh, okay. It's just me. Just me. I mean, I've heard a lot of theories, like throughout the day, and it's kind of hurted me a little bit. But I've been seeing people be like, well, maybe they're they're getting rid of Shooty. Maybe they're doing the switcheroo earlier than most would, and like just the prospect of that, just the prospect of losing Shooty so early pains my soul, because I have adored him as the Doctor. I you know, he's my first Doctor watching live. He's my first, you know, me jumping on to this new era of Doctor Who, and I've had such a good time with him, and the prospect of that hurts me a little bit.
I can apologize, but my internet on this thing decided to turn off and on again.
It said no.
Yeah.
I was just talking to them about, like, I've heard a lot of people online theorizing, like, well, maybe they're switching Doctors again. Maybe the finale is like the end of Shooty, and I'm like, I really, really hope not. That would break my heart. I love him so much as this character.
Didn't you say that he was talking about making this his final season?
I hadn't heard that, but I hope not. I hope, like, because don't typically they do 3 seasons? That's the like typical runtime for like Tennant and Matt Smith and stuff like that.
There's no typical, really. Like, Tennant can't be looked at as a typical because, like, he is literally anchored to this franchise, and they will just keep bringing him back. So where do you even count him? Eccleston, he only got the one.
Yeah.
McGann got a movie. You know, like, there's no. John Hurt got a special.
Sure.
Capaldi, he got like 2, maybe 3. But yeah, not everybody got the same.
Sure, yeah, but like I just meant like in the last, like, because what, like David Tennant had 3 seasons. I think Matt Smith had 3 seasons, right? Relatively, I know they came back and stuff like that, but I think the other 3, or the most recent 2, also had 3 seasons, but I could be wrong with that. Judy was on longer, but there was COVID and stuff, which is why. But it was like a longer amount of time, but still 3 seasons or whatever. But I don't know. Like, I'll be very curious. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, maybe they'll bring David Tennant back again. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, like, we'll see.
Yeah, the last lot got 3. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I would like him to at least get another season. Like, you know, if he wants out or something, like, fair enough. But, like, he seems to be having a great time. Like, every interview, he's so... Which that means nothing. Like, they could just be hiding their feelings and stuff like that. But, like, he seems like he's having a fantastic time as this character. And I think cutting him short...
The reality war, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where that image came from. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's from, like, the promos and stuff like that.
Because he is fighting, like, universal concepts.
Yeah.
Do you mean, like, that seem to come from nowhere but everywhere, and then defeats them by just sending them back or killing them in the case of death. Like, that should have a whole consequence, I feel like, you know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I really hope they don't go like multiversal.
Have they ever done that?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because no, I don't think so. Like, there's been parodies and stuff, but I don't think so. Because there be like, to see another version of Earth, all you got to do is go like an X amount of time and just cherry pick it out of a hat.
Sure.
So I don't think they've needed to.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be opposed to them eventually doing it, right? But, like, I feel like I don't need it either. I don't know. But again, I'm very new to the whole Doctor Who world, so maybe I'm just in the minority or whatever. Any other thoughts on this episode while we're kind of waiting for Taz to pop in here? Oh, it's you again.
Yeah, hi.
I was like, speak of the devil, and I was like, oh no, it's you.
Yeah, I have no idea why this thing is just playing up. I seem to be having that kind of a week. But I didn't want to just run out on technical difficulties. I'm fascinated. I'm gonna have to read more into the reality war and see if there's anything that they can give us in the way of information. Because that's awesome. Because you got to think, they've got 60 years of legacy where they have been going up and down in terms of scale of how dramatic everything is. Do you know what I mean? Like, some things is just for planet Earth, some things like solar system wide. The whole universe is going all the time, you know. And then now it's all of reality. Just all of reality, just everything. That's really interesting. And I know they can pull it off as well. That's the really cool part.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm curious. Did you have any kind of final thoughts on this episode that we haven't brought up yet? Like, I bet there's a lot of things we haven't mentioned, but like I'm kind of blanking. I'm like, what else?
Honestly, like, I was thinking about it when I was watching it, in that it's a little bit difficult to talk about this episode because so little happened, but so much happened, because most of the episode was people stood still talking to a person held captive.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, not a lot happened except of, no, look at me. No, look at me. Don't go behind that person. Exposition, you know?
Sure. It's very bottle episode feeling, where it's technically not one, but it kind of feels like one, where there's like two locations really for the entire episode, which is fun.
It is funny as well to have like how the episode started, because that does happen a lot, where it's literally the Doctor lands and then gets swept up in a tide of people of like, oh, this is what we're doing now, and then they just have to go along with it. Sure. And I love the psychic paper. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Definitely need some.
For sure. I mean, this would kind of be like our transition point normally, but Tess isn't quite here yet. Anything else during the week that you want to talk about or bring up while we kind of spin our wheels for a second?
I want to get into why I haven't watched Andor, right? And
go ahead. Okay.
It's a little bit embarrassing as a Star Wars fan, right? So if you ask me to give a rundown of Andor season 1, I thought I could do it pretty well and quite competently. Then, when I sat down to watch season 2, there was an option for a season 1 recap. And I thought, well, they usually have these when you press play on season 2 and said previously on, you know? So I thought I'll save myself the trouble of that and I'll just watch the recap. There was a whole bunch of stuff. Did not remember. I was like, did I watch this show? Did I skip halfway through? Because I remember the end. I remember how it ended. How has this happened? You know? And I'm like, I remember the snivelly guy. I remember him having a problem with Andor. I remember the whole him being in prison. I'm remembering Bill Burr, but I think that was in the Mando show.
Yeah.
And then it was, instead of him, it was Andy Serkis, right?
Yes.
And we got that whole prison escape and all for I can't swim, you know? And then it just showed like a whole bunch of like space stuff that I don't remember. And I'm like wondering if it was in like flashbacks or something. And then there was like a whole extra stuff with like Mon Mothma that I didn't remember. And I sat there halfway through the recap thinking, are they just showing season 2 stuff? But no, I literally have to go and watch another like episode, the season 1 again, just so I can confidently and competently talk about what I'm seeing in season 2.
Very fair. Very fair. I am also not finished with season 1. I swore last week I would get done in time, and I did not. I got distracted on other things, but
Oh, interesting.
I'm on episode 9 of this on season 1, so I'm slowly getting
Okay, you're
caught up.
doing well.
I'll be caught up by next week for sure. And like, you know, like I'll be curious because like Taz has seen the newest episode, so like I'll be curious to hear his thoughts, his spoiler-free thoughts on the first couple or whatever. Don't care about spoilers, but that's fine. But like I'm curious because like I understand why people don't like it. Like I get it. It is the definition of a slow burn series. Even to episode 9, I'm like I feel like it's still going at that slow burn. But I think it's a good slow burn in my opinion. Like I think it's like everything on screen is like top of the line Star Wars in terms of like the writing and the cinematography and you know the dialogue and you know the sets and everything like. And I think it's kind of been this roller coaster where it's like I really enjoyed the first couple, like the first 3 I thought were a great introduction, and then what would it be 4, 5, and 6? That kind of like it was okay, but I think it kind of dipped for me. It was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm a little bored with this set, and then this like prison arc that I currently just wrapped up with Andy Serkis and that whole stuff. I was like, oh, okay, like I feel like it's really finding its footing, and I'm curious.
Sorry, go on. You're curious.
Go ahead. It's fine.
No. I want to hear what you're curious about.
Like I'm just curious how those final 3 episodes kind of like wrap it up. Like where were people left on for 2 years waiting for this new season, and then how does the next season carry that momentum over going into the final 12 episodes? Is all.
Fair. Okay. Just in like retrospect, something I've never really thought about until I watched the recap, if I'm honest with you, is how important it is to get this show right. Right? Because they are basically showing the seeds and the construction of the rebellion. Right? And if they don't do that with enough care, with enough consideration for the law and everything that came before it, at that point it's like, why do we care? Do you know what I mean? Like if this doesn't grab us, if this doesn't haunt us, if this doesn't rally us into like core, do you know what I mean? So when you see Luke, you're like, boy, you don't know what's waiting for you. Like you got some forces behind coming, waiting, ready. You know, then I think it will fair. Like if they don't grasp all of that, then it will just trip everything up.
Yeah,
I mean, which is very, very interesting. It's very dangerous to do this kind of show when doing the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars was like dicey enough. Like that was an interesting choice.
Yeah,
I mean it was what everybody wanted, but it's one of those things where everybody had their own interpretation of it through their own mind's eye. I mean it's the same for when you're reading.
Yeah.
So to be so definitive with it is crazy. And the other thing as well is they've quote unquote started the rebellion in so many different things, right? You've got Force Unleashed, you've got like the start of it happening in episode 3, you've got like the comics, you've got Andor, there's like a lot of projects that have their own ties. Hello. Their own ties to good, thank you. Starting the rebellion.
We're talking about your favorite show, Taz.
Oh yeah, I heard. Oh boy, I have. So, I guess what's the background? Where are you, Darren, in it, and Darth? What were your thoughts on the first season?
So we were just both talking about how neither of us has started season 2 yet. How
okay.
I finished episode 9 and Darth needs to restart the whole thing.
Well, you've definitely dodged a blaster bolt by not being caught up yet. But I will say, you can hold me to it until I finish this stretch of episodes. I am enjoying the second batch more than the first batch.
Let's
as
go.
far as episodes 3 and half of episode 4, I think the story's better. But it's such a, we were talking about it in over on Twitter, just like it's such a slow burn show. And I think it feels the least like Star Wars, and I think that's the point of it. It is supposed to be a very different, very dark, gritty take on the Star Wars universe, and I feel like that is something that the fans have been asking for a while, but not necessarily in the way that they're doing it here. They're leaning more heavily into the elements of, say, the prequels that people didn't love. Like, if you look back at them, I think people will say that the parts of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones that didn't work for them were all of the, the stuff with the Senate, all of the different, all of the political drama. And they've, more or less made a Star Wars political drama with elements of, like, spy thriller sort of in there. But we know where these characters...
you have to do that, though.
Yeah.
That has to happen for it to make any sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's really the only course that they can go with this story, with these characters, because we know where everybody ends up. Like, we ultimately know where Andor's story ends, obviously. But, I haven't connected to the characters as much as I would like to. I haven't connected to the stories as much as I would like to. I find myself just, like, tuning out maybe, halfway through an episode, and then they'll do something maybe in the last 3 to 5 minutes that kind of hooks me, and I'm like, okay, well, if the entire episode was more like this, I would have enjoyed it. Like, I could pick out a couple of elements from each, portion of the show that I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed Andy Serkis's character in season 1. I think that was a really cool element.
He's my favorite part so far.
I liked the little teaser at the end of the season. I won't spoil it for you, but I liked the little tease at the end of season 1. As far as season 2 stuff goes, not really a spoiler. He's been in all the trailers. Krennic, I think, is great so far. I've only seen him in, episode 2. And then there's actually a character from season 1 that has a more prominent role, I feel like, in season 2 that's kind of grown on me. I'm interested to see. What's his name? Cyril. I'm interested
the one
to
who got
see.
bullied by Mummy.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where his story goes and where his allegiances lie by the end of it. But if somebody laid this show out in front of me versus a full on, like, Jedi Sith conflict, whatever, like, I'd pick that any day of the week. Like,
you'd be mad not to.
I can't, like, accurately say that I am enjoying this show. Like, I think that would be a lie to say that I am, but it would also be a lie to say that there aren't elements that I enjoy. Like, I like the cinematography, the production value. I think that this is the best looking Star Wars project that they've ever put out. Like, I think hands down, whether I like the story or not, it looks good. It looks like a full budget movie because they dumped a movie budget into each season, which is a whole nother argument for another time. But it just, every other Star Wars show that's come out, I've enjoyed it so much more. I'd much rather watch The Mandalorian or Skeleton Crew or, definitely Ahsoka. The Acolyte, 100%. I'd watch a million Acolytes before I watch another season of Andor. And you can quote me on that. It just, like, think about it. Think about all the amazing elements in the Acolyte. We had, some Sith lore. We had some Jedi lore. We had High Republic era, fleshing out of characters, that sort of thing. I think, too, having some recognizable characters or recognizable types of characters was very helpful. And the only real recognizable characters that we're getting back in this show are characters that, oh yeah, I know they show up in Rogue One, or oh yeah, I know they're kind of in the background here. And I'm gonna come out and say this now. I haven't gotten to the episode yet. It's been talked about since before the season even came out. There's a massive recast that we get to see in episode 6. Would you guys be okay if I say what it is now?
I probably don't even know who it is, so go ahead.
Okay. So Bail Organa, played by Jimmy Smits in
No.
in episode
What?
3, in Kenobi, in
Everything. Even the
Rogue
game
One.
is his face.
Yes. He's not in this show, and he's recast with a completely different actor due to scheduling conflicts.
Hmm.
I love Jimmy Smits. He's great.
You wait. You
He's
wait. You
yeah,
wait
exactly.
to get the
Exactly.
Smith. You don't
There's no-
fucking do it without the Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready to just like, I don't know. And like also Dexter connection. He was Miguel in Dexter. You're going to love season 3, Darren, when you get there. But like you can't do you can't. I haven't gotten to this new actor. I can't say for certain whether I think he's good or bad or indifferent. But just again, from the outside looking in, why would you do that? That would be like saying, oh, like for example, Krennic, right? That'd be like saying, what's his name? Ben Mendelsohn is not available, so we'll just get some other dude, have him do the same sort of accent and call it a day. I think that that's a little weird as well. And it just like, I think the show is going in so many directions as well. Like there's not necessarily there is a through line plot, but it's so convoluted and it takes so long to get there. And I still don't necessarily know what their end game is or what they're playing at, or like it seems like a random collection of stories that are loosely connected, and that's why they're dropping 3-episode arcs. Like this first chunk of 3 episodes.
Okay, I'm gonna go
season
before
2.
spoilers. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'm going. Spoilers. Like,
I wasn't really gonna spoil anything crazy.
I think he
This
had
first-
to go anyway.
Okay, but yeah, so I'll just make it brief. This first chunk of 3 episodes was basically all about Cassian Andor stealing a TIE fighter while Mon Mothma like boogies down at a party. Like that was kind of the premise of the first 3. And now these second 3 a little bit more interesting, but again, I'm not super invested. I'm not rushing to watch these episodes. Like I got through an episode and a half today because I had some free time while I was at work, but that was about it. I'm not like rushing to see it. Whereas, a show like You Season 5, I watched in a weekend.
That's
So-
That's such a crazy take. That is such a crazy hot take to me, which is fine. Like
Yeah.
you're totally allowed to have that. But to hear like You is the better show out of Andor is
100%.
That's so
Like, think of-
funny
so-
to me.
I gauge better, worse based off of what am I enjoying more?
Fair.
What
Valid,
show
yeah.
makes me smile the most? What show makes me laugh? What show makes me go, oh, that looks really cool? Or, oh my god, I can't believe that little twist that just happened. I don't feel that at all from Andor. I'll get a little chuckle, like the little robot that kind of like glitches when he's like, Cassian. Like, I kind of like that robot. Like, he's cool. Like, I think that's an interesting character. But like, other than that, it's Andor.
That's the thing, Ronan. You either love Andor, like you either think Andor is the greatest thing that's ever come out, or you really dislike it. Like I feel
Yeah.
like there is no in between. And I'll be honest, I went into watching through the show needing to love it because I want to like oppose you so bad. Like I want to be on the other side, not to oppose you, but I don't want to go into this with a whole panel of people that don't like Andor that much, right?
Yeah.
So like I feel like I went into it being like, okay, I'm gonna try and like it. And I'll say I like it a lot more than I watched it the first time, because I think the first time I went through it, I was kind of like, this is fine. But also, like, I went into it with, like, the headspace of, like, but I don't like Star Wars that much either, right? So, like, a lot of Star Wars to me isn't that interesting because it's just not my cup of tea inherently.
And that's interesting to me, too, is because I feel like, you would be somebody who would actually like Andor a lot, not being a massive Star Wars fan, because I think that is really the target demographic. It's not the original trilogy and prequel trilogy and Clone Wars and stuff, those types of fans. Like, I think that Andor is made for the audience of people that likes like the HBO style dramas and stuff like that, to try to get them into the Star Wars universe. It's like, hey, no, this isn't always just made for kids. Like, we can do some, darker, more mature stories. And that's why they went down the route that they did in that first arc, and they did a thing that was very, very controversial, because I think that they wanted to show that they can stand out from the crowd and from the rest of the Star Wars projects that came before it. But I guess my question for you is, in the same vein that I was like, there is no other Star Wars Disney Plus show or other Star Wars project that I wouldn't pick over Andor. I think Andor is literally at the bottom of my list. I would watch anything else Star Wars before watching Andor again. What about you? Like, where would you rank that? Would you say that you are enjoying it more than other Star Wars projects that you've seen before?
I mean, I would, yeah, for sure. Like, I think in terms of like quality, I think it's one of the best they've put out. Like if we're just talking like pure, just like cinematography and writing and acting, like I think it's some of the best I've seen out of Star Wars. Out of enjoyment, though, like I don't think it touches some of my favorites from the franchise. Like I like the original trilogy, obviously. I enjoy Mando more from what I've seen of that show. Probably most of the prequels as well. Like I really like. I'm not nostalgic, but I would probably put like maybe not episodes 1 and 2, but I think episode 3 I would put it above here. Of course, I haven't seen Clone Wars or anything like that, but like I would put it probably. I think it's probably the best Disney Plus Star Wars show up until this point. But also, again, I'm casual Star Wars, so like I didn't love Boba Fett.
Yes, it's funny.
That
funny
is
you should mention
crazy.
That. It's funny you should mention that. I could go back. I texted my brother like after I watched, I think the first or second episode of Andor this season. I was like, because again, I will go off when I'm not like on here. I was like, dude, I hate Andor. It's awful. I would much rather watch the holiday special than this.
Crazy.
So you can clip me and tear me to shreds. You heard it here first. I, Taz, would much rather watch the Star Wars holiday special than Andor seasons 1 or 2. And you can quote me.
Taz, you're going to get me canceled.
That's a Johnny Storm, and you can quote me on that.
Fine. I'm curious. I might try and wrap up the final 3 tonight. I might see how I'm feeling.
But again, I want to like it. That's the thing, is I envy seeing everybody online enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I enjoyed it, but I'm just not. But like I said, I there's a little bit of something going on there with the last couple episodes, 4 and half of 5 that I've seen. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see if your feelings can change as we wrap up the final 2 weeks of this. But I did swear I would have you out of here by 9:30, so I want to talk about Last of Us a little bit for the final 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Did you watch this week's episode of Last of Us?
Yes, I did.
Episode 3. What did you think of the third and just third? I almost said final episode. I was like, that's not right.
I was like, no way.
That's it, guys. Wrap it up.
I enjoyed it. I think it was certainly the least exciting of the first 3.
Agreed.
But it was more so like a picking up the pieces kind of episode. It was, we love the term bridging episode. I think that's exactly what it was. It was kind of, okay, this is where we stand post Joel's death. This is where we stand post, siege of the city. And how do we respond? How do we recover from here? Something that I really liked as well was in the intro. If you noticed, usually it's, both Joel and Ellie standing there at the end of the little intro cinematic. At this time, it was just Ellie, which was,
It sure was.
I didn't notice that at first. And then, so my dad and I were like looking online, seeing what people thought about it after the episode. And then he was like, did you catch that? I was like, no, did you see it? He's like, all right, let's rewind it. Let's see. Let's see. And then I was like, oh shoot, like that's that's a sad moment.
I'm proud I caught it on camera because like I was like, are they gonna change the title? Are they gonna do it? They did it. Let's fucking go.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I was so happy. I mean I should have been happy because it's a very sad thing, but I was like, I'm right. Let's go. Yeah.
Also,
like,
did you see the meme that people have been posting now?
The Adora one?
Yeah, the Dora
That's
meme.
so funny. Yeah.
That is great. Can you help us find Abby and her crew?
I mean, she brought us the map, right?
Yeah, the map.
The
She
map
mentioned
and
the
the
boots.
Yeah.
Yep. That's funny. That's great. Now all we need is Danny Trejo to bump into them on their
He would
on their
fit well in this
travels.
world. I 100% could see him just showing up and
Here's a machete. Take it on your adventure. Just like a random quest giver. But yeah, so as you know, from your game playing perspective, are you in a place where you still know what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is like I've kind of reached the point of my like replay over these last couple weeks where it's like, okay, I'm starting to know less. Like characters showed up this week where I was like, I knew them once I kind of looked them up and was like, oh yeah, I do know these characters. The tribe of people that had the cuts. Of,
Yeah.
you know, like I know that. I was
What
like,
were they, like the Scar?
yeah,
something?
like I know of them, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to play a little further to really like get ingrained with some of these things. So I'm starting to lose my knowledge a little bit, so I had to keep playing. I need to hurry up. But this episode is kind of exactly what I thought it would be, to a point. Like I kind of figured this would be the bridging episode. This would be the setup episode. Episodes 2 and 3 were going to be the setup episodes for not only the season, but what I can assume is going to be the rest of the show. The setup to where, like, this is, to me, like, we're kind of done with the introduction of the game, and now we're on the game. Like, we're on to the point of the actual game now. They're on their adventure. So I was really curious how they're going to go about it. And what was so exciting, I think, as a gamer, as someone who has played the game a bit, most of this is new. Most of the stuff that we got this week is new, because a lot of that stuff is like within the 5-minute spam of like her waking up, her talking to Tommy about what happened, something else happening, and then them going off on their adventure. Like it's very like it doesn't take a lot of time in the game. So for the show, they were able to be like, okay, let's actually spend time in this. Like let's see how they are. 3-month gap, I think, is new. Like it kind of happens kind of similarly, like very straight after, relatively. So it's like, okay, jump, see how characters are doing. How is Jackson doing? Let's everything with like the voting, like that stuff doesn't exist in the game whatsoever. Like there isn't a council, or there is.
I did like the town hall. It was pretty nice.
All that is brand new, and I think that was a very, very, very good inclusion. I think that's one of those examples of like you didn't have to, but I think it helps everyone in favor. I think it helps Ellie's character and Dana and Tommy, and just like Jackson is such a more lively community now. Like you know, you like Jackson in the game, but you don't care. Like it's just kind of a place you are for a little bit of your playtime. But you get to live there. It's this living, breathing character that you get to live in. And
it does feel like a very lived in kind of homestead. Like this is your home base. Like I would feel like in the game I would want to, like, you know, go get resources, come back, upgrade it, like, you know, fix up shops, that sort of thing. Is that an element of the game? Like is that something that's in this one or not?
I mean, kind of once you leave Jackson, there's not much going back. I guess that's kind of a spoiler there. But
okay, that's it's because I know in like, so Assassin's Creed, for example, like usually every game you have like a homestead area. Like in Assassin's Creed 2, it's the, you know, Ezio's villa, and you're like, you know, opening up different shops and upgrading it and upgrading the defenses and stuff like that. And so you know, recruit different characters to the homestead and all of those types of things. So I feel like that's something that would work in this game, or, you know, a game similar to it.
And I'm curious to see how they do that, because it's like, you know, in the game, kind of once you leave, there's not much going back unless something happens at the end that I haven't seen yet. But we still got characters in there that we follow at Jackson, so maybe there will be more Jackson that is new that we haven't seen yet. Like,
or maybe we'll get kind of flashes of, like, even if, you know, Ellie and Dina don't necessarily go back there, we'll still see, what's going on with the story of those characters there, and kind of
Sure.
maybe how they rebuild the aftermath, the fallout, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And I think we needed an episode like this. I think you need, like, people are like, where's all the action? Where's the stuff? And it's like, I understand, like, I think in terms of like wanting people to continue, I understand why you'd want that. But I think after such a heavy episode as last week, I think it's very healthy to take an episode of like, all right, let's calm down, let's breathe, let's just live within these characters. And to me, it was entertaining enough. Like, I was never bored while watching this. Like, I think The Last of Us is at its best when it is just doing character stuff and character journeys and stuff like that. What did you think of some of the more like intimate character moments and decisions, and like letting these characters grieve for a little bit?
Yeah, I liked that. I think one thing that kind of did catch me off guard a little bit, and I think we're supposed to feel this way, is it seems like Ellie's moving on very quickly. And an element that I did see kind of some discussion about is that they went more the route of justice, not vengeance, where it seems like in the game it's definitely a vengeance mission where, Ellie's mad, Tommy's mad, and everybody's just out for blood. Where in the show, they're kind of changing things like, oh, well, yes, it was a bad thing. We're upset. We're sad. We're grieving. We want to go kill them, but we're going to phrase it, okay, these, wrongdoers are going to be executed for their crimes. Like, this is about, again, justice, not vengeance. And I think that that's an interesting take. But, like, we got to remember, it's the apocalypse. Like, there's no rules, What is it? Is that that's a Walking Dead quote, right? Rules? There are no rules, man. Something like that, right? But I feel like that would be a better way of presenting it, maybe. But again, I guess we're gonna have to see how it plays out. But I do think, again, in line with that is Ellie and Dina seemed like they were more so on like a road trip rather than a vengeance trip. Like, they were just kind of chilling, like, laughing, joking, like, bringing up random things. Like, obviously, you've got to do that. But to me, I would feel like Ellie would be struggling a lot more with this. But I guess we did get that 3-month time jump, so maybe there's more of that struggle in there that we'll see in flashbacks and stuff like that. And then that kind of brings us to when they come across the group of, scarred travelers or whatever, that got absolutely like slaughtered. I know, again, I haven't played the game, but in the game I know Tommy goes on kind of a rampage. Did Tommy somehow beat them out there? Or do we think that this is Abby and her crew that did this? Like, Ellie and Dina are thinking.
I mean, they said wolves, right? Like, they said demons. No, it's wolves. So it kind of implies that it's them.
Yeah.
I want to go back just a little bit, just to kind of like comment on things that you were saying. Like, I think a big part of this episode is also displaying that Ellie is a liar, right? Like, I think everything that she was saying during her speech was to create a narrative, which I think was the right thing to do. Like, she needed to display this in a way that would get her what she wanted. Her being like, it's not about vengeance, it's for justice. I think that's bullshit. And like, there's that really good scene of like, this whole episode, I think, is displaying that she's not okay, but she's just holding it together. But she also does in the game. Like, she doesn't really address her trauma or her feelings until the end of the game, from what I hear. It's her putting on a face of like, I have to do this, I have to go, we have to put it together. I think that's what we're seeing here, where it's like, there's some really good scenes in here of her grieving. Like, there's that fantastic scene with like her in the coats and her just like trying to get close to Joel in any way she can with the coats. And then Dina comes in and she's like, I got to get myself together. I think that's such a good display of grief of like, no, you can't let anyone see how you are, or they will doubt how strong you are. Like, I think that stuff is so good. And I agree. Like, I think she's compartmentalizing her trauma, what she's going through. She's been locked up for 3 months. I doubt she's been able to properly grieve in any way. While there's always nurses and doctors and therapists and friends and family coming. Like, that's not a good way to grieve. I feel like I understand she was very hurt and stuff like that, but it's like, man, that just sucks, right? But So I'm wondering how it translates, like your whole thing about like it seems more like a road trip than I think that's kind of, I think both of those characters are kind of putting up a front, and they're using what comfort they do have to mask their pain and everything. And that's also how the game is too. Like they're making jokes, they're laughing through their journey, but when it gets serious, like when she learns,
and it seems like next episode's gonna get pretty serious.
Yeah.
And so my other question to you, right, is, so again, from playing the game, it's split between Ellie and Abby, like a hard cut. But I'm thinking now more so episodes will be focused on one or the other. Like this was very much so the Ellie focused episode, and now I'm expecting next week's episode to be the Abby focused episode, maybe basically playing out in the same time frame that we were at with Ellie this week, and then meeting at a common ground. And then the next week back to the Ellie story, the following week back to the Abby story, and maybe alternate back and forth between the two of them, from based off of kind of what we see from the trailer for next week and everything.
I was gonna
like
say,
that.
like, it seems very Ellie focused next week, so
yeah.
I mean, I get like kind of go, you know, after last week, I was kind of expecting it to just be kind of like Arrow style or Lost style, where they just like they go back and forth within the episode.
That's what I was
like,
expecting too.
But we didn't get any for this week. Maybe that starts next week. I don't know.
Or again, is one episode to be focused more so on one character over another, and it's definitely not like I wouldn't expect, you know, us to go full force on one character just throughout the whole season and then flip it next season. I think that would have been a very interesting approach.
Yeah.
Like if this is all Ellie's season, and then next season, you know, time
Abby.
warp back, and then it's the Abby season, and then season 4 is the confrontation season or something.
I kind of
like
would
that.
love that. Like,
Me too,
I think
me
like
too.
challenging your audience, that would be so cool, because that's what the game does. It challenges you to literally play as your enemy. That is sick. I think in terms of TV ratings go, horrible idea. I bet HBO was like, okay, we're adapting season 2. You can't do it like this, guys. You can't. We need you
right. We
to
just
be making a show.
we just killed our lead character. You can't just now focus the show on the character that killed your lead character.
100%.
You know, that when you lay it out like that, that's kind of crazy to think about, right? Like imagine, you know, any show you're watching, like, I don't know, maybe it's literally just a cop show, right? So you're watching a cop show, and, you know, you're following, you know, Detective Bob throughout all of season 1. Then season 2 opens up, Detective Bob gets killed by, you know, Billy the villain.
Right.
And then the rest of the show is about Billy the villain running from the cops.
Yeah.
Like that would be a crazy switch up there. You would want to then, follow, you know, the team and, you know, catching this criminal, not necessarily follow the criminal. And I guess that's kind of the route that they would have been going here.
Yeah. Like, I'm wondering if, like, I don't know, maybe just there's episodes geared towards it. And, like, again, like, I think what you pitched
so too.
of, like, one off, one on was actually, like, a pretty good approach if you had a longer season, I guess, because what we have 4 episodes after this, so there's not there's not a lot of season left to kind of like.
There's not, but I feel like season 2 and 3 are gonna work together very similarly to, say, Born Again. Season 1, season 2 are basically gonna be one long season, so I'm kind of thinking that that's how these two are gonna play out. Is it's 2 shorter seasons. This season's gonna be shorter than the first season, right? I think the first season was what 9, 10?
Yeah, it was 9. This is 7. Yeah.
So actually quite significantly shorter.
Yeah. I'm trying to speed run some thoughts because I know I got to get you over.
That's okay. That's okay.
Seth. I really enjoyed Seth this week. I thought that was a fun position to put them in, way more than he does in the game. Like,
really?
Like they fundamentally changed, and I don't want to say fundamentally changed, but they changed. Like, Seth isn't really a character. Like, there's that one scene with like the like sandwich, right, where he's like, okay, here you go, I'm sorry, blah blah blah, but like I think
I'm sorry, take an apology sandwich.
Yes, and then to have him be like one of the only ones that's like, this is fucking bullshit. No, like what? No, and
Yeah, and
I
he's
think-
actually on their side.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that brings up. So finish this thought, and then I've got a question for you.
I just love the kind of I don't know, like I think in a word like this, like it's very easy to be like things are black and white, and like even in the real world, I was like, well, you're a bigot, okay, I don't want anything to do with you, like that's just how we think. But I think in a world like this, it's very interesting to be like, yes, might be a bigot, but also that doesn't necessarily mean I don't want to do what's right at the end of the day, and see a character
Everybody's got layers.
trying to do better, someone who's trying to redeem themselves and be like, this one's better, take this. And I think like that stuff's really cool. What did you want to ask?
So it was what, a 3-8 vote, yes to no, on going to find Abby and her crew.
Yeah.
Who voted yes?
I mean, I definitely think it's Tommy. I think
Yeah.
Tommy, Jesse makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think Marianne. Marie, is that her name? Marie? I think she was no. I definitely think she was no. Yeah, because
My thought was Tommy, his wife, and their
Jesse.
buddy. Yeah.
Jesse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious because like that goes down. Am I allowed to like talk about like stuff you passed already? Okay.
Yeah. Go
Like,
for it. Go for it.
in the game, you know that like Tommy goes, right? You know that
Yeah.
part. That
Yeah.
part of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know the switch up is Tommy's the one who goes out.
Yeah, like it starts with Tommy. Like they wake up and Tommy's gone, and then Marie is the one that tells them. Like she goes down to them and be like, "So you're going, huh? Well, he's like, he's already left," and like she's very anti-going. Like she does not want them to go whatsoever, and like they think she's about to go stop them. I'll be like, "No, you can't stop us. I'm not stopping you. Here's some guns. Here's the horse. If you're going to go, do it properly. I'd rather you be prepared out there than have nothing and die." And it's like, bring back my husband. And like I'm very interested that Tommy is still at Jackson. Are we switching it up completely where he
or is
doesn't
he
go? Or
is he?
It kind of makes sense though. Like I don't hate I wouldn't hate the change of like he wasn't going to go because his like whole thing is like we didn't go to revenge the people, we want to save them. And I kind of like the idea of now he's doing that to them. It's like, well, I'm going to go after them and save them. Because they were going to get killed if I don't, kind of thing. Like I think
right, maybe that would. You're right. That's a good switch up. Like basically, he wakes up the next day, realizes they're gone, and is like, "Oh,
I gotta go save them." Yeah,
they're gonna need somebody to protect them.
Joel would kill me if I let Ellie die.
yeah. Joel would literally, rise up from the grave just to kill me. I think that would be very interesting. I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes. Again, we're very much so in uncharted territory.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea who Jeffrey Wright is playing, but I'm excited to see him. I think that's very cool. And yeah, I think this show is doing a great job of again captivating an audience that is not necessarily game players, but captivating game players and non-game players alike. And again, it's every single week. It's making me more and more excited to go finally actually play these games properly.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, like when they're and like I had this feeling when I played for watching the first game.
Yeah.
But like when they're going through the cities, they're seeing all the buildings, all the stuff. It's such a strange feeling because you're feeling like you're in the game. Like it is like identical the way they build these sets.
I was gonna say it looks very much so like what I've seen. Like when they arrived in Seattle, it looks very much so like 1-to-1 for the game.
It's this like surreal feeling. Whereas like you go from like you're watching a TV show based on The Last of Us to like you feel like you're literally now playing the game and you're going through these cities and it's like, oh god, like it looks so good. I can't believe it. I thought that was great. The final thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap this up here. There was a huge kind of thing that was cut out. I don't know if I should say it because I'm wondering if they're going to save it. But there was that tent scene. That tent scene originally happens before Joel dies. They have that kind of talk.
Interesting.
And there's more to that scene, and I'm wondering.
Okay.
Are they going to save some of it for later? Are they going to save some of their discussion for later or whatever? Which I'm glad they waited. I think because it would have, because like in the original game, it's when it's Ellie and Dana, they're going on patrol instead of her and Jesse, and that's when that scene kind of happens instead.
Okay.
So I think it's better they saved it, because I don't know if that would have been a good time to talk about it. I think it maybe would have undercut the Joel stuff. It would have cut that tension a little bit, but...
Okay. Yeah, I know that there's one big moment with them that's gonna happen that I've seen some clips, and like I like one thing on TikTok, and then it just like I keep getting clips of the game and stuff like that, and so there's a couple things that I know happen now that I'm waiting for. I'm like, oh, these things are pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a big thing that they kind of set up in this episode.
Yeah,
that like I hope you don't know about it, because it is a huge reveal, but like for game fans, you're like, oh, they're setting this up, and to anyone else, it's like, oh, interesting, okay. So,
okay, I don't know, so I guess I won't.
Okay,
I
good.
won't think too far about it.
Very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a little past 9:30, so I am going to get you the Council of Creators.
I did want to mention one thing before
Okay.
we go. One thing. You season 5.
Yes.
What are you thinking so far? And then I'll give my brief thoughts on the season, and we won't talk spoilers or more in depth until you're done.
Yeah, we'll save it for next week. Or so. Yeah, I mean, I'm only 3 in, so like you've seen this significantly more than me at this point. I've been struggling, like, should I watch Andor or should I watch you? And I end up watching neither of them and getting nothing done. But I'm loving it a lot, actually.
Good.
Like like you has been a very hit or miss show for me so far. Like, it's been very fun, but I think like the back half of season 4 onward to season 5, I think is easily the most I've enjoyed this show. Like, I think they're actually kind of on a roll right now, especially kind of watching them back to back. I'm like super into the show right now. And like we were talking about it, and like we were like, if they hit the landing, I think it could be my favorite season very easily. Like, I could see it making that milestone. I think how you end a show is the most important show I think could do. Like, I think you can have a shitty ending, a shitty mid-season stuff, but if you nail the ending, then I'm way more likely to enjoy your show. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I will say I really enjoyed this season. It's I will say it feels like 2 distinct parts, very similarly to season 4. Like, there is a moment of no return this season that once that happens, your whole perspective of the season shifts.
Interesting.
And from that point forward, you kind of understand where they want to go with things to finish it out. And again, I'm going to continue to avoid spoilers. I won't even rank it. I won't even say really my thoughts on the finale, other than the fact that I have some ideas of alternate endings that I may or may not have liked to see as well. And for anybody who's a fan of the show, who's finished it, I'm watching through or listening through a podcast that Penn Badgley, who plays Joe, actually has a podcast.
Oh, cool.
And he interviewed all of his supporting cast from this season on the podcast, and they're talking about how the show came together, how the finale came together, that sort of thing. So highly recommend looking it up and going and giving it a listen after you've finished the show, but don't even dare click on it before you've finished the show. But yeah, I think it is going to be, interesting how the ending ages, I guess is my question, is my answer to that.
Sure.
But I enjoyed my time with the show quite a bit.
Good. I'm glad.
And Dexter Resurrection, July 11th. Let's go.
I gotta get caught up.
July 11th, 2-episode premiere. Let's go, boys.
I'm gonna finish Andor. I'm gonna finish you this week, and then I'm going to start Dexter. I'm going to finally do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yes. And I will say definitively, Dexter is the superior serial killer.
I figured.
Yeah.
I will say finally, because I do have to get you out of here.
Yeah.
You led me astray 2 weeks ago. We were talking about, like, is it in his head? Is he crazy?
Oh, yeah.
Is this all?
Yep.
And it was like season 4 was like, gosh damn it. He knew the whole time.
And that's why I was like, I'm going to just shut up now and let you figure it out for yourself. Yeah, that was, like I said, that's why season 4 is my favorite. Because of that twist specifically. And it's funny, I've been watching some videos after the show has ended. Season 4 is universally seen as people's least favorite, which is super weird.
I get it though. Like,
Which is super weird. But there are some people that really love season 4. So I think we're in like this weird like little like niche minority. But like I think Joe is on demon time in season 4. Like that is peak Joe performance right there. Like he's channeling Dexter in season 4.
it's so crazy because like the first half for me is like I think that first half is easily my least favorite. Like I'm going through the season. I was like, I can't believe he likes this so much. I'm so bored. It's so blah. And then the back half of the season is my favorite. So like I don't even know how to rank it because it's my least. I honestly kind of want to rank them separately. Like I want to rank the first half and the back half kind of separately. I think I finally ranked it like number 2 because I can't give it that first place spot just because of that first half, but the back half is like it wants to be though. I almost want to forgive that first half.
I mean, and it gives you such a different perspective. That's the only season that I've only watched once as well. So it
does make me want to like rewatch it and be like, okay, what did I miss? Like what clues were there the whole time?
Yeah, because I went through and I rewatched seasons 1 through 3 before I watched 4 because it had been a while. And then I didn't do a rewatch before season 5 came out because I had very much so, not recently, but within the last year, had watched season 4. But it will be very interesting. Like one day when I get bored, go through and rewatch everything with all the knowledge now. It's like you know what? When you do that with a show, it's like New Game Plus, but for a TV show. And it's fun. But yeah,
absolutely.
I'll leave it there.
But thank you, Taz, for being here.
Yes.
Shout out to Darth, who was here for our Doctor Who discussion. Very fun, very great. Where can people find you, Taz?
YouTube.com/ToxicTaz. Or in the gym.
Or over on Council of Creators in a couple of minutes. He'll be over there chatting with the boy. I'll probably be on, hopefully, sometime tonight as well.
Probably. I'll drag you over there too. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll see if I get a link. We'll see. Do that. We'll be back next week, I assume, with more Doctor Who, Andor, Last of Us, and maybe you, if we can find some time to do you. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll figure it out. Episodes so late into the week. So, Pipeline tomorrow, we will be doing our continuation of our Ben 10 episode ranking. We'll be ranking every episode of Alien Force tomorrow with my good friend Chainsaw React. He'll be here. We'll be ranking them together. And yeah, without further ado, I will see you folks on the flip side.